Hey everyone, Tim again from the Word of Life Church. I know. It's been a couple, 2-3 days since I did a video. Well, I guess I did a teaching video, but I guess I didn't do a news type of video. There was just so much I was behind on, and and some of the stuff is still in the news today, even as we speak. I mean, here lately, there's not a lot changing, it seems like. Of course, we got the economy still, on everybody's nerves, making everybody a nervous wreck, and nothing has happened yet, okay? But back when this first started and everybody started talking about it, then people were thinking that it was, like the next day it was going to happen. No, it don't work like that, especially if it gets broadcasted out. They're going to wait. Now, I don't doubt that if some kind of collapse happens, that it would be an overnight collapse. Banks would shut down. There'd be, bail-ins, as they call them. I don't doubt that one bit. So still be vigilant. Keep that, still twirling around in your head there. Keep it the back of your head if you're protecting your assets. Then continue to do so. If you have a plan, if you're doing whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. Because just the way things are going, I mean, in the whole world. I mean, it's just not just in the United States, the whole world. The elite's trying to crash eventually the entire world. I often wonder, since it hasn't been done yet by just normal means. Now, they know what they're doing. They know the game they're playing. Like I said, the entire world is the chessboard, and they're moving around and moving the pawns and pieces around and everything, just like you would a good game of chess. I wonder if it's going to, at this point, take something pretty drastic, something pretty big to get their point across, to make their big move. And what I mean by that is, will that be some kind of a war, large-scale war? Maybe it may be a third world war. Maybe to a couple of other things. It could be, conservative things that could happen that could cause this. Technically, a war is one of the greatest money makers that there is. But also, too, they can turn that into saying, see, this money system that we have has helped cause this, so we're going to do something new now. We're going to take this mark, and which everybody's going to take. We're going to all, small and great, rich or poor, whatever. That's and. There's just so much that can happen. But main point being, hey, look, guys, still keep doing whatever it is you're doing. Keep doing it, because you got no guarantees. No guarantees. I can talk this morning. That it'll last. That this little lull that we seem to be in, little calm period. A lot of people are still not calm. People on Wall Street and everything are sitting there about they've got razors to their necks, about ready to slice their throats. And so does the rest of the world. I mean, they even call it this, a lot of the things, and I'm not dove too deeply into that rabbit hole, and they're talking about the whole thing about the gold and the debt and that it is part of a massive conspiracy, of course. And that's a pretty big trip down that rabbit hole. That's not one I chose to go down. I've kind of let the news speak for itself on that. The secondary type news. You guys know me. I don't listen much. Now sometimes on here I will flip over, see what's on, see what Fox News is reporting on, or CNN, just to see if they're actually getting and bringing to the table the same things that these alternative media sources do. In 2 or 3 occasions, they might be a totally different story. One slanted one way and one slanted the other. Of course, that's to be expected. But that's why I like the alternative news sources. They one out. They give what the facts are of the story, and that's it. You make your own decision. You know, you have the facts, you make your own decision. But anyway, once again, sorry, it's been a couple of days. Yesterday was such a beautiful day. We did a little trip, took a little drive, you know, up the mountains and enjoyed, you know, God's, you know, beautiful day to give us. Another one right now, I'm looking out the window right now. Sun shines out and blue skies, you know, another beautiful day. I haven't watched the news. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I hope it lasts for a little bit longer because I just love these days. It makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel good. I know it does you guys too. Much rather have days like this other than rainy days. But time out for just a second. Dry throat this morning, so we got to start saturating now with coffee and water and everything else. But I hope everyone's had a good last couple of days. Like I said, He's truly blessed with the weather. Truly blessed in many ways. We are truly blessed in many ways, not just in the weather, not just anyway. It's you know, hey, if you're saved, you are truly blessed. Period. No question about it. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know, don't argue with me. No. You know, don't argue with me. I won't argue with you. And if she sees this, she's probably gonna. She'll pick me out or pick on me for it and make fun of me and probably play fuss at me. Have a niece when she was younger that used to tell her grandfather when she'd get around him, she'd say, "Don't start nothing, and there won't be nothing started." And just love it to death. We still, you know, she's you know, grown up, you know, went through college, you know, going to be a chef, you know, we're proud of her, but still we, you know, still love to see her as that little girl, even though she's not anymore. I got another niece that's I mean, that love her to death too, and you know where does the time go, people? My goodness, you know, you just blink and it's just, I mean, here we are, 2016. I wonder what the percent. We're just talking. You know, this is part of the news time. I use this kind of part of the news time to get to the news and bounce some ideas off you guys. You know, how many people out there right now could raise your hand and say that you would have already, you know, even though we're not betting or anything. I'm not a betting man. Don't bet. Don't gamble. Nothing like that. Just saying it. How many would have already thought that we'd have already been gone by now? That things would have already come to a head, and you know, prophecy would have been fulfilled, and we would have already been gone at this point. I'd say a lot of people would raise their hand. You know, need to do a consensus. You know, many people thinks we've got 5 years left, 10 years, 15. You know, whatever. You know, whatever the case. So, well, brother, what do you think? To be honest, there again, that's part of really and truly date setting, and I don't know. I can't. You know, the way things are moving and moving quicker and quicker, I think the chances of it coming to a head quicker are greater than it has been in the past. We'll say that. That's not setting a date. I'm just saying the way prophecy is going, the way things we're seeing on the world scene, the earth, the way it's responding. There's so many things going on. So many things going on. Well, God's word's right. I mean, and it tells, you know, it tells exactly what's going to happen. You know, it doesn't give the minor details about what happens. It gives a blanket statement. You know, it says earthquakes in diverse places. It's saying in diverse places. It doesn't say there's going to be one here at this time and this time and this time. It just gives an all-encompassing blanket statement that there will be earthquakes in diverse places. So, at any rate, I'll put John here. Let me give me another drink of coffee before we get started here. Thank the Lord for coffee. Be thankful in all things. Be thankful in all things. I know that's hard sometimes, especially when you're having problems, when you're having issues. It can be. Believe me, I know. That can be hard. But we're made strong a lot of times through our fighting, through our battling, through through our adversary. We're made stronger through the fights that we go through. Not talking fist fights, but talking about the spiritual fights that we go through, and mental and emotional fights we go through. A lot of times we end up stronger on the other end, and I think the Lord allows us to go through. Well, no, I mean, because we point how many, my goodness, how many examples in the Bible can we point that out? The Lord allowing someone to go through something on the front end, when they finally come out of it, look how much stronger they are, or what kind of position of power. Look at Joseph, what happened. Brothers threw him in a pit, lied about it, said, oh, he's dead, and look what happened. He ended up during a famine bringing his entire family to Egypt, and and saving them during the time of famine. I could go on and on about that, but let's hit in a few. I don't know if I'm going to get all these or do all these, because like I said, some of this stuff really and truly is just I don't know, just what I wouldn't call earth shaking type news. If it turns into so, then I'll change my opinion and we'll do them. But there's no point in doing an hour-long thing on just some of these news articles. But first one, and probably one of the more important ones, this is Iran launching rocket into space this weekend, capable of carrying an EMP. We've been hearing a lot about that, and we've talked about that before. A nuclear weapon detonated in orbit above a city, or rather a country, in areas. Your power grid is down. It's gone. You might as well restart it. The wife was talking about, vacations and stuff like that, and doing stuff, and mentioned, no, I'd still love to do a cruise. And I was thinking, yeah. She says, but of course, with all the sicknesses that happen on these cruises in the past, and it's just, but my first thought, I said, well, yeah, I said, but imagine if an EMP blast happens, and it's just, you're just a floating, tin can at that point. People are gonna be hanging off the sides, holding each other's ankles down to the water, going, trying to turn the ship. That's look, Iran wants conflict. They want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy the rest of the world that doesn't bow down to them and their demonic god. Okay, so if anybody would launch a weapon like that, or nuclear weapons or whatever, to start a war, because they believe that their Messiah is going to come back through bloodshed, through a war that they're going to be starting. But yeah, they're launching warheads now to do that, and I don't know if they would have this kind of tech or not. Say we are the biggest U.S. or the biggest worldly powers, U.S. And China and Russia and everything. I don't doubt whatsoever that they have some kind of maybe a satellite-based EMP weapon. Like I said, basically all you need is detonate a nuclear weapon over, like I said, a country or an area in orbit. But suppose they have a focused type of EM weapon that they need to do that. They can just activate it and it strike a certain area. if it does, like I said, it's gone, power's gone, power grid's gone. You're going back to the 18th century. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be candles and fires, and for those that don't have fireplaces, what are you going to do? You have a fire pit? We don't have a fireplace. You're saying, well, brother, kerosene heater. Think about what you're saying, though. All that stuff it's going to go downhill. People's going to buy up. People's going to get in fights over stuff, over food, over kerosene or gasoline or whatever. If something happened like that, so at some point stuff is going to run out. Oh, and look who's coming! The man of sin to he's not going to be that way to some people. Some people he's going to be the savior, because he's going to offer him so many things that he's going to make them a deal that they just can't refuse. Yeah, no, that was quoting The Godfather, but anyway, that works. So anyway, that's the deal with Iran. Like I said, we know that they won't care one bit to push a button to start a war. Like I said, if they do it, they don't believe they're going to have to worry about any reprisals, because that's what's going to bring in their Messiah. Okay, and a lot of people believe, still kind of the jury's out on this, but a lot of people believe that their Messiah that they believe is, that's coming is what we would call, the Christians would call, the Antichrist, man of sin, or the son of perdition. But we'll see. Need to be keeping a close eye on them. Can't believe they let them get this far to begin with. One of the worst terrorist countries in the entire world, and they've got we'll just put sanctions on them so they can't do this and they can't do that. Yeah, it's really working great. Good job. Good grief. You know what? You know what? In the White House, what's going on right now? Everybody is sitting around probably the president's table, and they've got a monopoly board set up, and they're rolling the dice, and it comes to, say, Joe Biden's turn. So he rolls the dice. First off, he miscounts and has to move it back one, and he says, okay, well, I think I'll buy this hotel or buy this and put this big red hotel on it, and that maybe that's a euphemism for hey, this is the country that we're going to crash next, or the other economy we're going to crash next. And the image that just struck me so funny. Anyway, that's what almost seemed like they're doing. What are these people doing up there? If they're not keeping stuff out of, I know it's not our job to police the world, but when Iran, especially Iran and some of these other places, are known terrorist countries, that all they want to do, that they're salivating at getting the bomb, that way they can launch a nuclear weapon at us or other places, especially Israel. To get rid of that, that's going to be target number one, is Israel. You can't tell me that we can't stop that. I'm sorry, you can't. It's very complicated and we can't do this. No, we could have put a stop to all that already. But the problem is we don't want to. Well, I'll say our government doesn't want to. We'll say that. Let's move on. The use of Manchurian mind-controlled subjects to disrupt Trump's political events. Okay, well, the old book, The Manchurian Candidate. The guy was brainwashed, and all that stuff. There's been a recent movie with, I forgot who starred in it. And the guy was activated, and he was supposed to kill somebody. I don't know if it was the president or some other politician or somebody. But that goes along with MK Ultra and some of the other mind experiment and mind alteration things that the government has experimented with in the past. It probably continues to do so, and that's on the light side of the very controversial type of research that people like DARPA does. The Defense and Research Projects Agency. But when you say this though, the counter is, and of course most time it comes from Hollywood and other people, naysayers say, oh, so you're saying, you mean it's the same thing as if you hypnotize someone and tell them to bark like a dog, when you snap your fingers they're going to bark like a dog. See, they make fun of it. They haven't done their research, or that's just it. They haven't done the research to find out some of the stuff. Look at all the stuff, all the shooters and stuff that's went on that's been covered up. Mind control is real. It is 100% absolutely real. Is it foolproof? No, I don't believe it's foolproof, just because there are so many variables there. But they're saying now that they use these subject to disrupt Donald Trump's political events. That I don't know. I wasn't there. I've been hearing off and on chimes about that, about these his political events, people, but there's also people that show that love him, and there's people of all sorts of skin colors sitting there shaking his hand and hugging him, and that's what all these other lamestream news media aren't showing. They're showing one side, and they're showing the far left and far right side of each one of those. They're not showing the actual things that are going on. But of course, the Dems can't stand the thought of him being in there, and he's beating out everybody else in the Republican side. Several of the Repubs have abandoned their, have said, I'm done, forget it. And even apparently a lot of people don't want him, just because. Remember the other day talked about that, Newt Gingrich. So you have to send me a thesaurus or something, maybe a CD that teaches me how to talk again. Apparently, I'm losing the ability. At any rate, I lost my train of thought. Newt Gingrich the other day said that that people didn't like him, especially the establishment didn't like him, but also that the people in Washington, just in general, even the Republicans, didn't like him because he hasn't went through the initiation rites. He's not part of the secret society. That's what he said. People, he's just spouting off. No. I've told you, I've given you evidence of the secret societies and everything, and we've talked about them before, and you can do your own research and find out what's going on. Hey, look, if George Washington mentions by name the Illuminati, then there's something to that. And they're still in power today. That's what I'm talking about, sitting there playing on the chessboard around the world. People down lower play Monopoly on the desk like we talked about. But on the world scene, it's a gigantic chess game. Bankrupt this country, move over here, put this person in power in this country that we can control. And that's what I'm talking about. They have the power to do. Excuse me. So anyway, we're talking about the use of these mind control subject to disrupt Trump political events. That's part of what's going on. Still believe a lot of these activated shooters, especially the one I can't remember the state, can't remember what his name. The guy that at the showing at the last Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, I believe it was, he went theater and His hair was green. Basically, he apparently dressed up as like the Joker, basically, and went on a killing spree. That is what we're talking about. You know, people that have severe mental issues, they have multiple personalities, DID issues, and most likely maybe at the very forefront, maybe they were SRA victims, satanic ritual abuse victims, because a lot of them actually turn back to that and bring that up. That's not a coincidence. Each one of them bring that up. That happens, or that something has happened to them when they're young. If we were to know the stuff that has happened to some of these children, and some of you actually adults, maybe even my age at this point right now, that you've never shared with anyone, I feel for you. I feel for you, because that's something that, and I'm talking about satanic ritual abuse, okay? Very sensitive subject, very true subject. That happens. Even the police admit that it happens, okay? Even some of these mental health institutions admit that happens. I feel for you, because that's something that no child should have to go through. That's one thing that infuriates me, and I try not to think too awful hard, and give just a tremendous amount of thought to it, because that makes me rise up in my flesh to think about that. I won't, and I'm going to all the hairy, nasty details and stuff like that. But basically just using children in satanic rites, satanic, Luciferian services, masses, black masses, whatever you want to call it. Along the same lines, we can look at this, and we can put this back on the Catholic Church as well, because they each one have something like that. Even one point, some of the high level Catholics in the past, in one particular, I don't know if it was Malachi Martin or a different one, a father, a pretty high ranking person in the Catholic system, said that the Catholic Church had become the seat of Satan. So at any rate, we're going to get off of that subject, like I said, because it's just, that's a deep pool. We can sit and talk about that for an hour or two, and all we'll do is just end up getting very mad at it, and we don't want to do that. Just have to pray, that the Lord will help. And if there's anything, find out anything, or any way that goes on anywhere, let somebody know, let law enforcement know, let people that investigate this stuff know about this. That way they can turn it over to the appropriate people. Especially if it's a kidnap case, that goes under the federal authorities right there. So anyway, come on, let's move on here. Toronto attacker said Allah told him to stab soldiers. That's what the police are saying. And oh, here we go. Oh, well, look here. Here's Needy Cat. Clinton's Benghazi gaffe, as she claims we didn't lose a single person in Libya. Despite 4 dying in embassy attack on her watch. And after that, the guy posted this in parentheses, says incapable of telling the truth. So apparently now they're even trying to push it off on the people that all the stuff in Libya didn't happen, the guy didn't die, the embassy didn't get stormed, and I tell you what, See, even Needy Cat can't believe that. Look at that. See, she don't even believe it. At any rate, hang on. My goodness, I swear, her mama has spoiled her to death. Trying to go through and get the stuff that I think is, that's, as to what's going on today. I mean, not just today as in today, but to, the things that are happening right now that could lead to other larger things. This comes from All News Pipeline, which I reference quite a bit. I swear. Ought to beat your mama. I'm just joking. I don't mean that for spoiling her. Give her to her, lock them in a room together. Let her spend time with her. Okay, was moving on here. Sorry. Was Black Lives Matter responsible for suicide by cop turned into tragedy after Maryland police station ambushed an officer killed? Suspects were recording incident in order to make a political statement. Black Harvard students advocate white genocide. And it shows an officer that says it was a black officer. Said rest in peace, officer. I'm say Jakai Colson, looks like how you pronounce his name. Said sad story coming out of the city of Landover in Prince George's County, Maryland. This police station was ambushed by a gunman that has left one of the PG County officers dead. The gentleman I just mentioned. Said Maryland Governor Larry Hogan ordered flags lowered to half staff in the state today after another horrific act of evil claimed the life of Officer Jakai Colson, 28, a 4-year member of the department. And we've recently found out the shooter was attempting suicide by cop, with his brothers video recording the entire sickening incident. Said rumors have come out this may have something to do with disgruntled members of Black Lives Matter, though the shooter's ties to the group have not been confirmed. See, this is what I'm talking about. That they're trying. That's another thing that our lovely government, lovely people in the government, lovely elite Luciferians and satanic group people. Well, we'll just say the elite Luciferians, because they're the ones we're talking about that have been playing the chess game and that are still playing the chess game. Would love for a race war to break out. They're wanting to do to put in the order out of chaos. Okay? Novus Ordo Seclorum. They want to be the ones to bring the order out of the chaos. That way they can control the order that they can make out of this chaos, and they can shut everything off. Why? Because they're controlling it. The ones that did it in the first place. I hate that. I hate seeing that, especially an officer in the law. I know not every policeman is straight as an arrow, but there are some out there that I know that are good men and women, and some that are good Christian men and women that are just trying to do a job that they believe in, that they can make a difference out. Some out there aren't. Some out there just do it because of the perks that they can get of being a police officer, which is I can walk around and carry a badge and a gun, and that makes me somebody. So, well, people, we're about to have to take a break or something in a minute. The coffee's getting cold. We can't have that. So remember that family in prayer, that cop that he got killed. Remember his family in prayer. You hate to hear something like that. You know, that's somebody's son, brother, whatever the case may be. Got animals all over me here. Right here. This comes from Front Page Mag. This is Obama's path to war. So last week, the deputy commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, we were talking about Iran having their weapons, Brigadier General Hossein Salami, boasted that Iran has 10 times as many missiles as its Hezbollah proxy, and threatened that those missiles are ready to hit enemies and targets from different parts of the country. I always wanted that. Probably don't have near that, and they're just sitting. We're mags. We ain't got what everybody else has, so we're just gonna lie what we got, and just make everybody think, that we're somebody that's gonna be feared. Now, let me tell you something. If they do, what I'm saying, when I said earlier about that, if they do get to the point that they've got a seriously effective missile system, defense system, or offense system, or some kind of an EMP weapon, then we do need to take this threat seriously and curb this threat that they can present, because they will. It says, by conservative estimates, Hezbollah has accumulated a stockpile of roughly 100,000 missiles. If Salami's, I'm sorry, I just can't help laughing at this guy's name, both are to believe, that means that the Iranians have accumulated a staggering missile arsenal of 1 million, or roughly 1 missile for every 8.5 Israelis. The antagonistic comments follow 2 Iranian missile launches, and it shows 2 missiles being launched. Look pretty pathetic. Look like something you would get at a fireworks factory store. This follows 2 Iranian missile launches fired from Iran's eastern Al-Borz mountain range. I hope I pronounced that right. The missiles are said to have a range of 2,000 kilometers and are believed to be capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Written in both Hebrew and Farsi, the emblazoned on the missiles was the phrase, "Israel must be wiped out from the face of the earth." That is Iran's main goal. Really, their main goal is to start war with basically everybody. That way, they can get back they can bring their Messiah back. Because according to them, that's the Mahdi supposed to come back during a time of war to destroy the infidels. But it has to come back. There has to be bloodshed started, a war started, for him to come back. According to what they say, according to what people have said they've read, the Quran. It's a doctrine of devils, people. I'm sorry I keep doing this because I keep getting cat hair around my nose and it's itching me to death. But anyway, the Quran, doctrine of devils, given by a seducing spirit. So that's in the same sense in the book of Timothy. It said, in last days, people giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. It's those seducing spirits that makes these doctrines of devils like that to be written. Oh, they ain't gonna like that. I tell you, when somebody out there hears that, they ain't gonna like that. Okay, claim combat game changers. Why everybody loves to use that word? Here's a game. Oh, this car's a game changer. This thing's a game. This thing's a game changer. This game changer is popular. It's in vogue right now to say that about everything. Combat game changers headed to America were dummy rounds. Or is this more proof they're preparing for a slaughter here in America? And this comes once again from All News Pipeline. I swear. Mama has spoiled this cat. According to Oregon Live, the missiles we told you about March 14th were dummy missiles and were actually headed to Portland, Maine rather than Portland, Oregon, as Oregon Live originally reported. We're also told in the updated story that these missiles were not armed, though the police who found them disagree. Says, who are we to believe? What damage could something like this do in America if in the wrong hands? Well, bad stuff. You know, our original story from Monday. Says back on December 15th rather, All News Pipeline told you about some recent strange events that have been taking place in various locations across the country that made us believe that ISIS was preparing to launch massive attacks upon America after many parts were stolen that could be used to make an absolutely devastating homemade artillery called, I'm not going to use the word, but it's blank cannons. Called propane tanks. Remember talking about this? Called propane tanks on steroids. These blank cannons were being used with deadly accuracy in Syria to hit targets up to a mile away by rebels opposed to the Syrian government. It says, since that story, we have learned that ISIS has intentions to disrupt the U.S. presidential elections, and the latest news that we just learned today from the Portland Tribune should send up huge warning signals to everybody, or to anybody and everybody who is paying attention. Found on a flight from Lebanon that was headed towards Portland, Oregon via Serbia were two blank missiles. Who knows what the final destination of those missiles were, but seeing that they were found on a passenger flight headed towards the U.S., we appear to be witnessing a major uptick in the weaponry that terrorists may be planning on using in their attempts to kill Americans, which they absolutely want to do. You can see the blank missiles in action in the final video below, and it shows some kind of an armored military truck, and it's it's almost engulfed in a huge flame, black smoke. Small arms. People. Let's get serious for a minute. I love to joke around, have a good time, and everything, but let's get serious for a minute. This right now is a real threat. Look how many. The government has flown these people over here. Okay, I'll put them through passenger jets and everything. That way they'll get flagged by the TSA. Even if they can flag them, they'll flag everybody. They'll flag a 2-year-old before they would an actual terrorist. That's about how effective they are. There have been actually flown people over, terrorist cells over. The border's been open for how long now? In areas, many areas, and they've come through that way. And look how long this has been going on. How many? Think about it seriously. Let's just say within the last 2 years, how many terrorist cells could be sitting right now, waiting for the go ahead? The go ahead is a green button. Go to it. Do as much damage as you can. Kill as many people as you can. Blow up as many things as you can. The people, this is real. This is real. This is happening. Am I saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow? No, like I said, I don't know what, But I believe the Lord will give His watchmen, will give a heads up of saying something's wrong. And I'll be honest with you, I watched, and I kind of shared the video to my wife because it was a good explanation of, was it last night? It was a preacher. Actually, it was a news snippet from Brother Paul Bagley, and he was sharing a news clip from Alex Jones, and saying Alex Jones had kind of broken down in tears because of the weight that had fell down on him, and that was the same kind of weight and worry and just desperation almost that he felt before September 11th, 2001, the attack, supposed attack, and a few other things. It's not always there strong with me, but I was trying to get across that that's exactly the way I feel, the heaviness that I feel. And I've had this heaviness thinking about that and a few other things for weeks now. Now I'm kind of like him. I can't, I'm not, I'll sit here and say, or prophesy or anything and say this is what's going to happen. I don't know. It could be any number of things. Maybe there's a reason why that you're not allowed, or not shown exactly what's going on. Maybe it's that, maybe just something that you can tell people, hey, look, keep your eyes open, be prepared. We believe something, or I believe something due to the way I feel like the Lord is putting this on my heart. Excuse me, that something's bad is going to happen. Well, that's the way I feel right now, the heaviness of the Spirit. So, here's my warning to you right now. Keep your eyes and your ears open. Pay attention, Quit worrying about when your next tea time is for golf, or when, or whatever the case. I'm not going to jump into all that. Whatever the case may be. Right now is a time, especially if you are a Christian and you're supposed to be watching and supposed to be trying to get people saved. It's time to start getting serious and keeping an eye out on what's going on, and need to be doing our jobs as Christians to try to get. I'm talking to them, preaching to me, teaching me to, just the same way I am. You need to put more in motion. Okay, need to put more of our work in motion than we do right now, because we're talking about, when I talked about at the beginning, combat game changers. There are some things. I know that's kind of laughing at it, but it's true. There are some things that could turn into be a real game changer here in our country. In fact, it could be some things that nobody that will ever believe that could happen will happen. So, at any rate, that. So just keep watching, but be on the wary side, as they call it. beware, and just like I said, if you see something going on, I've said this before, report it. If it turns out to be nothing, then that's fine. But if it turns out to be something, then you may have saved your life, your child's life, your family, and other people's lives. Okay? No harm. With things going on today, the way it is, I would almost think it would be expected, especially if you see something. Police, would say, no, you did the right thing. You didn't know, but you wanted to be sure, and you were scared for your life. So that's when you decided to call the police. That's that's what it should be anyway. Okay, come on, let's move on. Let's move on. If I can get this thing to work right, I follow this thing every time. Gene editing with no boundaries now aggressively pursued by China. Talked about that many times. Gene editing. People are so. Let's use this for instance. There's so many superhero movies that have been out in the last few years. That's coming out now. That's getting ready to come out. Hey, I love comics. I'm a sci-fi. Hey, I'm a geek at heart. Okay. Hey, but God's stuff comes first. God's work comes first. But gene editing, what I'm talking about that is they're talking about, the like transgenic type movement trying to enhance a program. Okay, let's say talking about like the Captain America. He was supposed to be a super soldier, and it was like, a serum and all this stuff that supposedly made him that way. Well, along the same lines, these people are doing research. Transhumanists are doing research. Transhumanists more into the robotic type area, machinery, transfer your consciousness through. And they say it's all science, but they've got Russian cosmos up there saying that the gods of old are reawakening, and they're going to help us make this transition from this body to machinery bodies, our consciousness, and that's science. That's what they say. Anyway, transgenics talking about, say for instance, a soldier gets gene editing, gene splicing through recombinant DNA, some kind of a method like that. The eyesight of a panther, a cat, a large cat, and they can see in the dark, or whatever. Fill in the blanks there. That's just a quick. Sorry, cat. Stupid cat. Something of that nature to enhance, to we've got to get past this normal human ability. We're just sick and tired of it. We're not evolving right now. No kidding, we're not evolving right now. We're not evolving at all, and we never have to begin with. So they're wanting to push the envelope and do that. Give us this type of superhuman abilities. Well, don't know. You know what? I'm not going to get into that part right now. I want to. That'd be more toward the spiritual warfare type of things that we're talking about. But anyway, it's not just being pursued by China, but other countries as well, us, Russia, other countries, to make us, human 2.0 or whatever, or something like that, whatever. Trying to improve us, God didn't do a good enough job to us, so, we're going to try to improve us, but it's also all military application, of course. Republican establishment, and I'm just going to gloss over some of these. Republican establishment is destroying the party of Reagan. Yeah, knew that. But also did the moral majority too, if everyone remembers that. With Jerry Falwell, when he passed away, all that caved in and left. There's no good versus bad in this. When people think, Dems versus Republicans. To me, there's no winner. Who you're for? Disagree with me if you want. I don't talk politics. That's about the furthest I go into it. Is that ain't no winner either way, because they are all under the same Luciferian agenda and under the same control, and just within themselves, all they want is money, control, and power. That's it. So, how the internet flips elections and alters our thoughts. Well, yeah, it does that. It does that. Internet does a lot. The internet is such. It's good in the situation like when you're trying. We're for almost an hour. I might have to hurry. It does. It does. The internet is such a distraction. And here in the last couple of days, I've talked to a couple of people actually. A niece being one of them, saying that it was hers. Her Facebook was such a huge distraction, and that she could use that time better instead of constantly clicking on the Facebook link and looking, to use that time to study the Bible or pray or do whatever, or something constructive. And I said, well, good for you. I said, I turned mine off a long time ago, and I said, I've never regretted it. Don't miss it one bit. Don't miss it at all. Too much junk on there. Now you can have good on there and put good on there and use it in the right way. But also, just the same thing, you can use it the wrong way. Same thing happens before cell phones and computers. It was the telephone. Call, you talk, check on people, actually, and do it in a godly way, like you're supposed to, or you call and sit and do the whole gossip thing. So, it's either, you can do it one way or the other. Doesn't matter, social media, whatever. Okay, come on here. It's saying here that the, before voodoo economics, man, that's a term I haven't heard in forever. Let's see, move on here. Chicago cop, anti-Trump mob more aggressive and destructive than reported. Well, of course. 124 criminal aliens released under Obama admin policies, charged in 135 murder cases. Bravo. That, gee whiz. See, one of these days, get the boat, gonna go to a deserted island, and that's where I'm gonna sit, and let the world just spin out of control if it wants to. Okay. Sorry, my eyes were messed up this morning here. I'm skipping over quite a bit of these because I don't want to get. I hate I went this long. I need to keep better track up with this, better track of these, and get on when I can if something really serious is there. Lord Rothschild warns of big problems in 2016. Well, okay. I'm going to look at this and, well, wait a minute. I think this is one of these. Yeah, this is the one that always blocks me. Well, no, wait a minute. Let's see what's the truth. Pop-ups. Okay, yeah, this is stock investments and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that right now. We know there's issues going on with the economy. There's no doubt. Everybody knows that by now. But we're still keeping watch on it. Obama deep cuts to defense leaves U.S. vulnerable. Yep. U.S. policy made 2015 the worst persecution of Christians in modern history. Well, I'm inclined to agree. We're becoming the the hated enemy. Islam was being embraced and allowed, and oh well, you just don't understand their ways or this. But you as a Christian says something, it's a dog fight right there. So people just keep this. That's as far as I'm gonna go. That's actually the last thing. I skipped several different things. Just like I said, this really don't need to be that long. I just need to come on, I guess, and just bring maybe even if it's just 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time. Just the ones that are important to get into it. And I might start doing that a little bit more instead of packing them in. I know you guys hate sitting this too long, but anyway. That's what's going across the lines today. It does nothing humongous on the surface, we'll say. But keep praying about the situation with Iran and the things that's going on. There's just I wish we had time just to sit here and talk for 2 or 3 hours about everything that's going on, because it would take that long and longer to get through everything and explain and go through a bunch of stuff, and we just don't have that time. But the Lord is with us. If you are saved, praise God. If you're not, look, we're running out of time. We are in the last days, no doubt about it. If you're not saved, come to Jesus. He's going to be your only way out of here. You come to Him, He's going to punch your ticket to heaven. I say that respectively. You accept His salvation, you're saved, and you're on your way to heaven. You don't have to worry about it. If the worst happens and a nuke drops down right in the very center of your house, and it wipes out. Hey, if you're saved, don't have to worry about it. It's going to be hello, goodbye earth, and hello heaven. And after that, you're going to eventually get a glorified body, likened unto the Son of Man. You're going to experience a new heavens, a new earth, the new Jerusalem, all the things. And who knows what else is going to happen after all that, other than we're going to be with the Lord forevermore. So what else is going to happen? I don't know. Do you? It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful, people. If you're not saved, let me tell you, you must be born again. You must be born again. Because if not, you are going to spend eternity. And yes, of course, people downplay this. Don't even preach or teach anymore. There is a hell to shun. The old saying, it's not biblical, but people just say it's kind of, there's a heaven to gain and a hell to shun. It's truth, I know, but it's not actual scripture. But they're talking about, especially at the very end too, being cast into the lake of fire, where the beast, the false prophet, Antichrist, and all nations that forget God, and eventually Satan will be cast in. You don't want to be part of that crowd. You don't want to be part of that bunch with them. Accept the Lord Jesus. It's going to be your only way out. If you haven't accepted and turn, do it now. Take your time, do it now. I wouldn't let another moment pass, because we don't have to reach some of this stuff. Some of you may not reach home today or tomorrow or whenever, after you see this right here. After some point tonight, maybe if you watch this or something, you may go out in the morning and you may not make it to work. May have a heart attack. Who knows what may happen? Don't waste any more time. Accept the Lord Jesus as your personal Savior. You will not regret it, I guarantee it. You will never regret it, I guarantee it. Anyway, this was Tim once again from Word of Life. And sorry once again for this long news broadcast. We're going to start doing these a little bit differently, I think, and we're going to start breaking up some stuff as far as stuff that's going to be of a very serious nature, earth-changing type nature, and we're going to report on them. And we're going to leave some of the stuff that's just not worry about it, unless it upgrades itself to a point I think I need to report on it. I think that's going to be a lot better. But at any rate, try to get on later, and of course we got midweek service tonight. They tried to get on there and do a teaching, preaching videos. Have to wait and see how everything goes. But if not, we'll do it tomorrow. Just whatever the Lord wants to do. But anyway, God bless. Blessings in Christ upon each and every one of you. And remember what I said, don't be afraid to look or walk in the shadows, because the Lord Jesus is going to surround you with light, and He's a light unto your path. Amen. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.